Okay, Colton. All right. So I see the concept is you're kind of shaping the type to be in that shape that was created in the front, that kind of shape that was created on the front. I think that's an interesting technique. Right now, though, I think it's a little bit forced. And there's a lot of type here. Boy, there's a lot of type. But I think it's a little forced in some areas. But specifically, I think there was a well, we'll get in here and take yeah, right here. There's the end of a paragraph and a new paragraph, all within the same kind of paragraph. So again, it's just you're forcing type into this shape. And I don't think that's necessarily the best thing you want to do. I mean, first and foremost, you have got to make sure that paragraphs are paragraphs and that no two paragraphs are converging into one section. You see what I'm saying? Right there, that short line here indicates to me that that's a new paragraph. Okay, so conceptually, I think it's pretty strong, but I think there's a lot of execution that we need to address here. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to zoom in here and we're going to take a look at the typography. So let me see, let's do this. Okay, so in all of your type, you're using standard numerals. So you definitely want to employ old style numerals or reduce the size of the type by about 20% so it falls more in line. See how that sticks out like a sore thumb? You definitely want to address your numbers all throughout your composition. Now, you've got indents and space between paragraphs, and as we have learned in class, you don't want to use both. You don't have to indent. Each of those techniques indicates or demarcates a new paragraph, but since there's a space between, you don't have to use both. Plus, if you want to use indents, you're going really deep into the paragraph. I'd say maybe 3 characters tops. It's just a way to indicate a new paragraph. So you don't need to go those 8 or 9 or 10 characters deep with your indents. Okay, so I also see, yeah, so your numbers definitely. Um, Director of the Kaiser Wilhelm Physical Institute. That would be italicized as it is the title. Same thing with Professor University of Berlin. So watch your italicized. You want to italicize correctly. This is what I was talking about before. This seems to be a new paragraph, but it's all configured right within here. So you want to address that. I'm not really seeing, okay, not really seeing any area for I'm sorry, for again, there's a title, so that could be italicized. I'm not really seeing any use for small caps, but if you do come across any area where you're using all caps, you want to change that to small caps. Okay, your rags really, really need to be adjusted. The rags are not adjusted at all, so getting these kind of weird shapes. So take a look at the course announcements. Mainly, we're looking for correct use of dashes, M dash, N dash, and hyphen. Use of small caps as opposed to all caps, and then use of old style numerals and or reduce the size of your numbers. Those are all covered in the course announcements and video tutorials. Okay, the timeline itself, I think the timeline looks pretty good. Although I see in some areas you've got, like over here, you've got a dash and then a space after the dash. Over here, you don't have a space. You just have no space, dash, and then no space. Here you have a dash, no space after the 6, then the dash, and then the space. So you have inconsistent use of dash there. So my recommendation is to use a dash either with a dash. Typically, I'll use a space before and after, but M or N dash, I don't use a space because I just think it creates too much area between the areas that are being separated by the dash. Right now, I think that we can increase the tracking here. It's reverse type, so that means it's light type on a color background, so you want to increase your tracking. These little lines right here, that Prague, that should be aligned with Albert. And also, you don't want to ever have a word on a line alone. Okay, so watch your alignment. Okay, Prague should be pulled over, so 1911 dash stands alone. Okay, same thing here. Those are typographic widows, by the way. You want to always avoid any possibility of having a word on a line alone. Okay, so those are my recommendations. Um, if you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to make any necessary clarification. All right, great job. Thanks, Colton.